like the color? It's different, huh?
I like it.
Yeah, I was kind of taken back when I first saw it. I was like, no, but then after looking at it a while, I go, you know what? I really do like that. And I only had two choices. It was this one or like I don't know if you've seen it, like Ford, like a royal bright blue. I forget what they call it, but
I like blue too, though. Yeah.
but this isn't. This is more like a turquoise blue. I don't know if you know what I'm talking about, but it's
This is the mandatory Denny's visit before any flying.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode. In this video here, I just wanted to kind of show you an experiment that I did. I've always wanted to try this. We're out here in the middle of nowhere, nobody around for all of those people that are worried about that type of thing. And I decided to try and fly my drone and follow my truck at the same time. And it sounds like it would be pretty easy to do. Turns out that this is a whole nother skill that you have to learn and get good at, and I'll kind of show you what happened on my first attempt. But take a look at these views real quick before we get started. Some of these are just absolutely spectacular. I found this in my folder for this video, and I was like, well, I cannot waste this opportunity to show this to you. This is one of my favorite spots in all of Arizona. I love going here. I'm a frequent visitor, and it's just breathtaking, and it never gets old. It just never gets old. I love this area. And just look at the colors and it's hard to find the words. But anyway, let's go ahead and get started on what this video is about. Okay, the first thing we're going to do is get the drone up into the air here. And after the cars pass, we'll get the truck rolling. And then off we go. Notice that I forgot to put the tailgate up. That turns out to work out okay, but probably should put that up next time. But you'll notice that this road is kind of bumpy, and I kind of had the controller resting on my belly. I kind of use my belly as a table, because it juts out there so far, so I'll just kind of set the controller down on my belly. And what ended up happening here is the bumps in the road were affecting the stick inputs and overcoming the gimbal on the drone. These micro vibrations in my stick movement. My stick movement is causing this jutteriness, and I've had this issue before with the Evo, where you really have to keep very smooth stick movements with the Evo, because, and I've said this before in the past, and I've got a lot of hate for it, but it's the truth. So I don't know why in the world I would get a lot of hate for it, but the Evo has a gimbal that's kind of lacking and its ability to soak up all of the movement of the drone. What I'm saying is it's easy to overcome if you have a windy day, or you're not really dead on with your stick movements. The gimbal can be overcome fairly easily, is what I'm trying to say. And it's most likely because of the size of the drone. The gimbal's really small, and they used one of the axes and built it directly into the camera. So that's one of the Evo's limitations, but it hasn't really ever become an issue. I mean, I have rarely ever had it be a problem, but I have had it be a problem. I have had footage kind of ruined because of it. But here I try to do smooth movements, and doing smooth movements while riding, trying not to get car sick. Turns out that I've never had a problem with getting car sick, but in this scenario, I did have a little bit of a problem because you're watching a moving drone video feed and you're also moving. So I guess the combination of those two things kind of started to get to me a little bit. But I have Dale slow down, my buddy Dale slow down here. And then I want to kind of position for a drive under the drone shot. But this is I'm really surprised at how difficult this was to do. I mean, you really have to practice this a lot in order to, get really good at this, I think. And there's probably drones that are better suited for this as well, that have a better gimbal. Like, for instance, I would venture to say that, like, for instance, like a DJI Phantom 4 would be a better drone for this type of thing because of its gimbal. The gimbal on the drone is able to soak up a lot more of these type of micro stutters. That's just a speculation on my part, but I'll bet you it's pretty spot on. Like, for instance, my Autel Evo, not the Autel Evo, but the Autel X-Star Premium, had a gimbal on it that was just really good at, just eating up these types of small stick inputs. It would just eat it up and you would never see it in the video footage. But these smaller drones, you just have to be a lot better at this. And, since this is my first try, clearly I need a lot more practice. I don't know how the Mavic Air would do or the Mavic Mini would do. I'm really interested to know if it fares better than the Evo. But I've always thought that the gimbal on the Evo is like one of its weaker attributes. It's not the best gimbal on a drone that I've ever used. It's it's decent, but I've the gimbal on other drones I've used seem to be able to keep a more steady shot. But I did pretty well there, and then at the very last second, jerked the stick, probably hit a pothole or a bump. This road right here is horrible, but I did want to try and do this on my ATV. Like, I do want to try this exact same thing on my ATV with somebody doing the driving, and I follow us with the drone on the back seat. I really want to do that. I'm going to do that soon. And this kind of gives me an idea of how that's going to go, because if I can't do it on a road that has some potholes, how is it going to go on the back of an ATV in an off-road situation? It's going to be even more difficult. But I think that this is a viable, useful skill for a lot of different types of scenarios. This would be really useful in getting some more spectacular shots, as opposed to using the drone's follow feature, like the Skydio or something like that. If you can get good at this, I don't know if you even need a drone that does that type of thing. That's just my personal opinion. If you increase your skill to the point where you can do these types of shots and you can do them well, why, worry about a drone that does it automatically and doesn't necessarily get the shot that you're looking for? So that's my kind of 2 cents. This is kind of how it went. for me on my first attempt to do something like this. I thought it was a pretty good attempt. You know, there is some micro stuttering in the video that I'm not happy about, but all in all, I think it went pretty well, and I'm going to continue to practice this skill and get better at it after all of this COVID, type of situation stops, and we're able to actually, go out and enjoy doing things again. So anyway, I'm hunkered down. I hope you're hunkered down, and I hope everybody is safe out there. And until the next go round, definitely try and keep the propeller side up. We'll catch you on the next one on that end.